In this video, I'm going to talk about drawing Capstone Project 2.1, which we call the cabin project. In the cabin project, you're going to draw a floor plan and the elevations for a small cabin. So here is an example on the screen of what the floor plan will look like once it's all finished, and it has all the dimensions and notations and everything required on it. And the second sheet of this plan will have the front elevation of the cabin and the side elevation of the cabin. So I wanted to show you a detail of the floor plan and kind of orient you to this plan. There is a front porch that we can see right here. There's some steps that you would walk up and get onto the porch. This is the front door. It's a 3.0 front door, which means it's 3 feet 0 inches wide. It opens in this direction right here. The door swing goes to the right. This would be called the hinge jamb, and this is the strike jamb. As you walk into the living room, to your left, you would see a fireplace and you would see 2 windows. And to your right, you would see a dining area. And if you turned and went into this area right here, you would find a kitchen sink, stove, or a place for the refrigerator, washer and dryer goes in this area. So a lot of the symbols that you see have to do with what's going to be installed there. So for example, where the washer and dryer is going to be, you have hot water and cold water outlets in there. You have 120 volt electrical outlet. You have a 220 volt electrical outlet in case they wanted to have an electric dryer, for example. There is a door off of the dining area that goes out onto a small deck, and opening onto that deck is a small water heater closet, and we'll show you this a little bit more in the elevation views. And there is a gas outlet in there and a 120 volt electrical and a 220 volt electrical plus a cold water feed for this water heater. There is one wall in the cabin that's 6 inches wide. It's this wall right here. And the reason for that is that on this wall, we have a lot of plumbing fixtures that butt up against this wall. We also have a furnace on this wall. We walk into a little hallway here, and to the left we have a bedroom with a linen closet here, and if we go straight ahead to the right, we have another small bedroom which is labeled the bunk room, and it has a closet that includes a shelf and a closet rod. That's what the dashed line, and it says 1 rod, 1 shelf, and the abbreviation for that is 1R, 1S. If you go back into the bedroom, there is a small closet that opens into the bedroom. There are windows, of course, around, and so this is a 3.0, 4.0 single hung window. So 3.0 means it's 3 feet 0 inches wide by 4 feet 0 inches tall. Now we don't see the height of it until we see the elevations. The overall width of this cabin is 24 feet 0 inches. The overall depth of the cabin is 32 feet. So it's not a very large cabin. It has only 1 bathroom, and it has an overhead light in there that has a vent. It has a light, and it has a heater built into this entire thing. So we're going to actually have 3 switches over here on this wall, all feeding to what looks like a light. But as I said, the light has a vent and a heater as well as a light built into it. So we created a 3-dimensional model using Revit to show you what this might look like. Now, of course, you're drawing in AutoCAD, so your model won't look like this. Yours is going to be a 2-dimensional model. But if you recall, after you walk in the front door right here, if you turn to your left, you're going to see the fireplace. And so the front door would be in this area over here, and you walk in and turn to your left, there's the fireplace. The living area is in here. You can see those windows on the wall. And if you turn to your right, as I said, there is a dining area, and if you came into this area here, you would actually be into a kitchen area. If you walk through this door here, you would be in the small hall. that is outside the 2 bedrooms and the bath, and you can see the refrigerator added here. So the way you get started with this drawing is you're going to open up a prototype drawing that is specified in the textbook, and you're going to save that in your home folder and name it Cabin Project. Now I'm going to get into the AutoCAD drawing here in just a second, but that's what this slide is kind of showing you, what you're going to see in between model space, where we have these 2 rectangles in model space in the prototype drawing. You'll be drawing the floor plan inside this rectangle and the elevations inside this rectangle. So when you're finished, the floor plan would fit something like this inside the floor plan rectangle, and the elevations would fit here. And those 2 rectangles are mapped to layout tabs and paper space. So when you come down along the bottom of your AutoCAD user area, you'll just pick on the floor plan or the elevations layout tab. So what I'm going to do right now is switch over to AutoCAD and kind of show you what this looks like. So this is what you're going to see when you first open up the prototype drawing. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and we can see that this, if I click on that, this rectangle is the floor plan. The scale that we will be viewing this at when we click on our floor plan tab down here is actually 3/16 of an inch equals 1 foot. And then if we move over a little bit, I'm going to click on this. You can see the elevations will go here. So you need to keep your elevations inside this rectangle to ensure that they fit over here on your elevations tab. So you're going to have to draw the front view fairly close to the edge of the rectangle over here, and then your right elevation will be drawn fairly close over here to the edge, and I'll show you that. Now we have a third rectangle in here, and that's for an extra credit project where you could draw the foundation for this, and your instructor may or may not give you that option. So anyway, I wanted to just kind of orient you to the prototype drawing. Now I'm going to click on the cabin check print so you can see what things will look like. So I have the floor plan picked on my layout tab right here, so you can see how the floor plan fits in here, and you can also see the scale is 3/16 equals 1 foot. And remember, when we scale things, the way we do that is we pick on the viewport, which is this rectangle that goes around the paper, and at that point we want to look over here. I'm going to unlock that, and we pick and we go find our 3/16 equals 1 foot and check that. And then to lock that so that we can't change the scale, we pick on this lock right here. Now obviously, if you need to pan your model over and get it centered on here, you're going to have to unlock this viewport. So you would unlock this guy so that you could double click inside there and pan. But when you double click inside there with an unlocked viewport, you have to make sure that if you change the scale, that you come back out into paper space, pick on the viewport, and reset this to 3/16 equals 1 foot. The elevations will look something like this, and you can see that they're fairly close to the borders here, and that's why you'll have to draw inside of your rectangle. And again, if you double click and get out into paper space and you click right here on that viewport, you'll want to make sure that this is also 3/16 equals 1 foot. Now I'm going to click on the third tab, the foundation tab, just to show you this is what the foundation plan looks like. And so really what you're doing is taking the perimeter of the floor plan and copying it in here and then working to put in your concrete beams and things to create a concrete foundation on this thing. But like I said, that's a extra credit project, so your instructor will either give you that in a handout or in Blackboard or something like that. All right. I wanted to show you some of the symbols that are in this floor plan. So we have a tub, and we have a toilet, and we have a little sink area. We have a 120 volt outlet that says GFCI. That's a ground fault circuit interrupt outlet that's required next to a sink like this. Here's that light I was telling you about that says vent, heater, and light, and there are 3 switches on this wall, and each switch, we have a phantom line going to our light right here. These are the switch lines for that. This is a 2.0 door, 2 feet 0 inches. This is also a symbol, which we actually is called a block in AutoCAD. So everything you're seeing in here are blocks. And so what we want to do is open up a drawing called the cabin symbols, and this is furnished to you. And what you'll do is zoom in, and you will create a block for each one of your symbols. So this is a 3040 window, and this is a 3040 window turned horizontally. We have a 2.0 door. We have those with different orientations, a 2.6 door, 2 feet 6 inches, 2.8, a 3.0. And what you're going to have is a sink, a hose bib, a gas outlet, and so you'll have to go in and make a block for each one of these, and then you'll insert all of those blocks into your floor plan, including there are some blocks down here which are your external or exterior doors and windows, and you'll need to put those into the elevation views. So I'm going to click back onto my check print here, zoom out just a little bit, and I'm going to go into model space. So this is where you can really see your drawing, where all those components that you're going to be placing in here. So as I said, you have a water heater closet. It has a 2.0 door on it, 2 feet 0 inches. You'll put a block in there for your gas outlet, for a 120 volt outlet. You'll have a cold water outlet or a spigot right there, and that will feed this water heater. Then you'll have a 220 volt electrical outlet, and that's in case someone wanted to, instead of a gas water heater, they could have an electric water heater in there. So all of this is included in the assignment in the textbook. Now I wanted to show you that when you start to draw this, one of the ways that you might want to draw the exterior of your floor plan is, instead of using the line command, use the polyline command. So the polyline command is located over here, or you can find it under your draw tools. You can find the polyline command. And so let me find that guy actually. Where is he? There he is right there, polyline. And here's the thing about the polyline. If you draw, let me turn my ortho on. Let's say you draw the outline of a floor plan like that right there, and you use the polyline command, and the walls of this floor plan are 4 inches thick, you can come up and use your offset command. You can pick on offset, type 4, and press enter for 4 inches, and you can pick the polyline and pick anywhere to the inside, and it will offset all of those walls just like this. Now, if instead of using the polyline command, you drew the outline for your floor plan as separate lines, if you use the line command, when you offset those, you'll wind up with overlaps in all these areas at every corner, and you'll have to come in and trim all of those, which is not too big of a deal, but you know, just a shortcut is to use the polyline command and then do the offset. Now in the next step, you'll be offsetting one of these lines out here to the inside to locate where interior walls are. And in order to do that, because you drew these as a polyline and then you offset this guy, which will also be a polyline, you'll actually need to come in and explode those polylines. And once the polylines are exploded, then they can be offset as single lines. And so you'll need to do that. But it's not a bad idea to draw the floor plan using the polyline command. And so the dimensions needed to draw the floor plan are in the textbook, in the assignment itself. Now, when you start to draw the elevation, the textbook gives you a lot of help, but we also have some videos that you can watch. And one of the things, the way we start this project is we start by drawing this wall actually right over here, and then we sort of start building off of that wall. And so the textbook gives you step-by-step instructions for that. But I think one thing that's important to point out is that we draw a line that we call the finished floor, and then everything that is above the floor here, we're going to offset from this line above. And then our ground line, which is right down here, actually we take our finished floor and we offset it 18 inches to start. So the cabin appears to be sitting on a foundation that's 18 inches high. And we just chose that to be the number to draw the height of this cabin. That would depend actually on the site and where the cabin is built as to how high the foundation might be. So what we tell our students to do is offset this line 18 inches and imagine that that is your ground line. Now the problem at that point is you have a perfectly horizontal ground line, and the ground is generally not horizontal. So what we do is we offset that line 2 inches after we've offset this guy here, and then we come in with a polyline and we turn off ortho or polar tracking, and we sort of draw an irregular ground line between those two lines that we've offset here. And then we erase out both of the perfectly horizontal lines to leave behind kind of an irregular ground line. And then we'll copy that one over here to this side so that both ground lines are generally the same, but they're not perfect. This is what that water heater closet looks like in the elevation, in the front elevation. So you can see it's just a little add-on closet to the main cabin. It has a roof on it, and it has siding just like the cabin does. And in this view, we can kind of see what it would look like from the back side over here. So we can see the roof pitch is a 412, and we can see the siding coming down the side. So that's just to the right of this kind of back door that we have on the cabin. It's really not a back door, it's on the side of the house. We have a chimney, and there's some symbols for the top of the chimney, and you'll use those when you create your blocks. You'll go ahead and make those symbols. All right, so I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint show. So this is what the floor plan looks like, the way it is sketched. So it's kind of a rough sketch that the architect has made. And as I was saying, you can start with a polyline command at any of these corners. You could pick a point, move to your right, make sure ortho is on or the polar tracking is on. Type 24 feet and press enter, and it will go to there. You can move straight down with your polyline and type 17 feet, 9, and press enter. And there's also a little bit of help over here. It says that so whenever you're typing feet and inches, you need to type the feet. So if you needed to draw a line 24 feet 6, you would type 24 and the foot mark, dash, and 6. But you don't need to put the inch mark after the 6 because AutoCAD defaults to inches when you're in the architectural units. Now, what about though if you have a dimension that has a fraction on it? So let's say that I want to draw a line that's 15 feet, 9.5 inches, like this line is right here. It tells us in this dimension that's 15, 9.5. If I were right here and I were trying to draw straight down, what I would type is 15 feet, 9 dash 1/2 and press enter, and that would give me my 15 feet, 9.5 inches. So as I said, you'll create a block library from the symbols in the cabin symbols drawing, and we'll actually show you, or you'll actually see how that you can insert these symbols from the cabin symbols drawing into the cabin project. So we're going to take blocks from one project and insert them into another project. You'll create a dimension style, and the name of that will be ARC64, and the settings for the dimension style are noted in your textbook. And you will use that dimension style when you come in later and add all of your dimensions. The dimension spacing we have a help sheet here that shows you that we would like to put the first line of dimensions 27 inches away from the cabin. And so this cabin has a roof overhang that's 18 inches out that goes all the way around the cabin. So actually we're going to start measuring in this from the top here out 27 inches. That's be the location of our first line of dimensions. And the next line of dimensions will be 18 inches out from that, and the next line will be 18 inches out from that. Same way on the side, the farthest thing you have on the right side is the edge of this porch. So we'll measure 27 inches out, then 18 and 18 again. And along the front edge of the cabin, the farthest thing that we have is actually this porch step right here, sticks out the farthest. So we'll measure 27 and then 18 and 18. And on the left-hand side, the side of our chimney is the farthest entity, so we'll measure from the edge of our chimney out 27 and then go 18 and 18 when we place all of our dimensions. So when we're finished, our floor plan will look something like this right here. All your dimensions, all your symbols, everything required by the people making this or building this cabin to locate everything that they need. We even have included in the book a floor plan checklist, and it's a good idea to work your way down through this checklist. For example, there are 4 smoke detectors in this cabin, and a smoke detector, the symbol for it is a circle and it says SD inside it. And so we actually have a smoke detector in our symbol, so you'll make a block for a smoke detector. There are 4 of those in the cabin. And so we have a smoke detector here, a smoke detector in this bedroom, smoke detector in this bedroom, and actually a smoke detector in the kitchen area on the ceiling in the kitchen. So that's why the checklist is helpful. It will tell you what to look for, and it talks about spacing your dimensions and things like that. All right, let's talk about the elevation views. This is a Revit model of what the front of the cabin might look like. You can see the porch steps here, and then here is the front porch. So the front door, we can't see the front door, it's back in here. But what we see right here is that water heater closet, and we see the little 6-foot by 4-foot porch that's on the side of the house. This is where that door that comes out by the dining areas, right, would come out onto this landing right here. We have an 8-inch post right out here that supports the edge of the roof of our cabin. Of course, this is our chimney. So, one of the things we can do is relate the locations of windows and doors and other features from our floor plan to our elevations. And so, for example, we have a window over the kitchen sink, and we can project that straight down to the front elevation, and we'll see that's where that window would be. Here's our front door. We can project from the sides of the door, and that's where the sides of this door and the elevation would be. We can project from the side of the chimney down to find where they're going to be here. On the side view, we can project those windows over to our elevation. We can project the location of the door, and we can also project where that water heater closet. If we put a 45-degree miter line in here, we could actually project across and over, or over and up. So what we'll do when we draw this roof line here in the side view where we get this profile, we'll take where this roof meets this roof angle right here, and we'll project from that intersection down to the 45-degree miter, and you could project over and find where that change in the roof angle happens in the front view. All right, so as I was saying, you'll start by drawing this wall actually over here, and then we'll build this first pitch of this roof, which is called a 10-12 slope. And then we'll mirror that. We'll mirror this roof around, and then it will intersect with another slope that's a 412 slope. And remember, this is 32 feet from this edge here to this edge over here, and we see our porch steps in the side view. And so we have lots of things in the book that will help you with that, plus we have some videos. All right, so when you're finished, you will have your completed floor plan, and this will be printed 17 by 11. The sheet size is actually 17 by 11, And so it's going to look long and narrow sort of when you print that. Now you may be printing it on an 8.5 by 11 sheet, so it may look a little different than what this one looks like. But the two sheets that you will draw are your elevations, a front elevation and a side elevation, and your floor plan. And that will complete your project right there. Good luck.